You are listening to episode 48 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you were created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tienel. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back. How's your summer going so far? Mine has been amazing. We're actually finishing up a project of building a swimming pool, and it is getting so close. So I am really looking forward to the next couple weekends when we get to finally dive in. And speaking of diving in, I love today's topic, and I just want to go right there. Transforming trials into blessings. Here's the thing. We all are going to have trials in this human life of ours. Whether you call them challenges, difficulties, negative things, these trials that we'll have. And when we fight against that and we don't realize that we are going to have these bumps in the road, we are going to have to go through things that we don't want to. Things are going to happen that are out of our control, that we will find ourselves wishing weren't happening. But what I want you all to know is that coming to the place of peace and acceptance of where we will have a life that will bring us these challenges, and it's not going to be any other way. It won't be a trouble-free life that we live until we go to heaven. So knowing this, I want to offer you a question to be able to ask yourself whenever you find that you are in the midst of a struggle, of a challenge, of a trial. I want you to ask the question, how is this going to be perfect for my life? Now, I know that our brain will automatically say, well, Danielle, if a tornado hits my house and I lose everything, you're expecting me in that moment to ask myself the question, how is this going to be perfect for my life? And my answer is yes. And the reason my answer is yes is because the answer will have an upside to your life. When you ask your brain a powerful, positive question, it goes looking for powerful, positive answers. And so in the midst of any trial you're facing, any challenge, imagine what your brain's going to be doing, right? Your brain's going to be showing you how it's awful, right? It's going to be showing you why this is going to be hard and how this is so heavy and why it's terrible that it happened in the first place. And sometimes life does present itself with a trial that we want to be sad about or angry about or disappointed or frustrated. I for sure don't advocate taking on a Pollyanna, everything is so wonderful type of attitude. But what I want to share with you today is that peace of mind, peace of heart, feeling peace in your life is the goal. And I know because many of you tell me, and because I coach a lot on it. And then the question I presented, how is what's happening in my life perfect for me, is the tool I'm offering to help you move closer to acceptance when you are faced with a trial and a challenge in your life. Because when you answer this question, you're tapping into a very powerful internal system that God created that is so miraculous and that is simple. And that is that your brain will respond in kind and go to work to help you to find the answers to your question, the ones that you place in front of it and ask on purpose. So while the goal in life is not to just be happy all the time, but instead to experience all of it, all of the ups and downs of life. And when we accept this and know that there will be the down times. Having this particular question in your back pocket and answering it will provide you with a total mind shift, a pivot in the direction of your thinking in a laser focused way, and of putting your mind to use for you. Because let's face it, right now, when something happens that you don't like, you're probably not asking yourself the question, how is this perfect for me? But there are always blessings to be found when we look for them. Just like you know how you learn something new and then you start to hear about it or see things about it like everywhere, because you gained awareness around it and your mind becomes more laser focused. The same thing happens when you begin to look at your life and look at the world in a way where everything can be seen as a blessing. Let's look at and talk about some possible examples. And I'm drawing these examples right out of the words that I hear from moms just like you. In fact, I had these very two circumstances presented to me this week. Okay? So a diagnosis of diabetes and a divorce after 50 years of marriage. These were two trials that I was presented with. When we think back, if you listen to the series podcast just before this one about the model, you can see that these two things that I just said are circumstances that have taken place in someone's life. For each, even as I just spoke them to you, you heard them. And when you heard me say a diabetes diagnosis and a divorce after 50 years of marriage, it triggered thoughts in you, even though that might not have been your circumstance. But when you heard it, it triggered thoughts in you. And the same thing happened when these actual trials were placed in my client's life. So our brain, when it's left unmanaged, will kick in and show you all of why those things are a negative, why it's an emergency. It's something terrible. It's tragic. It'll be hard. You're probably having a thought like, oh, you'll have a hard road in front of you, and on and on. But this is where we want to manage our mind. This is where we get to create peace in our life no matter what circumstance we are presented with. There is a diagnosis of diabetes. That's a circumstance. And then your mind will offer things like, I don't want this to be happening right now. I'll have to go through a lot. I'll need to restrict my diet. It'll feel terrible. And then I have to do a whole bunch of exercise now, and life will be so hard. Like, this is what your brain will offer you. It's saying, emergency, don't like this circumstance I'm presented with, so it kind of fights and does the opposite. But what I want you to learn is we can relax into what is and not fight it. So with the divorce after 50 years of marriage, with that circumstance, some thoughts may be, I wasted so much time. I'm too old to start over. Or I'll be alone for the rest of my life. And those thoughts will feel so true, but they feel awful when you think them. And they're not true. They're just sentences and phrases that your brain offered you because your brain tries to protect you and keep you safe and has you conserving energy and avoiding pain. But there's no peace in your mind as long as you allow those negative thoughts to rule, because there is another section of your brain that you can tap into that will be helpful and useful. And one of the ways we tap into it is to draw on a really powerful question, like the one I'm presenting to you today. How is this going to be perfect for my life? So let's take out this tool we have to redirect our brain and transform any trial we face to fit our definition of a blessing, something that actually brings good to your life. Because I promise you, if you focus on blessings, go looking for blessings, expect blessings, get curious how something is a blessing, your brain will go seeking and finding a blessing there. That is what the question, how is this going to be perfect for my life, transforms your world. So let's try the question on the examples and picture hypothetically as if they were a trial that you faced. So first, let's say you receive a diagnosis of having diabetes. Now your lower brain kicks in, right, with all the things that are terrible about this trial that you've been presented with. But in your great awareness of the power to create peace in your mind, and from learning from this podcast, you'll recall this powerful question in that moment, or in moments later, you might ask yourself, how is this going to be perfect for my life? How is this perfect for my life? How is this going to be perfect for my life? You see how I repeated that several times because, again, your brain might say at first, I don't know. This isn't perfect. It's going to be hard and awful. But you just keep asking it, and then it will find the answer for you. So when you let your brain answer, it may say, I will now get healthier. I will now, this is what I needed to change my eating habits. I'll now take up new activities, and perhaps I'll do that with the whole family, so we'll have more family time. I'll be more active. And then your brain is like, okay, when I'm more active, I'm going to be able to do X, Y, and Z that I wasn't able to do before. Or I'm so glad this was a blessing that I got this diagnosis now and not later when it was, maybe too late for me to turn around. But now I can turn it around. Let's ask the question in regards to someone who has divorced after 50 years of marriage. If you look at how this is now perfect for your life, some answers your brain may give you. And of course, this hypothetical example could be something like, this was perfect for me and my life because I needed to leave this unhealthy situation. I get to make a fresh start. I love myself enough. I don't doubt that I'm capable now. I could find out that I'm way stronger than I ever thought I was. That would be a blessing because then what will I go after and do with this newfound strength of mind? And I have lots of life left to live and enjoy. See how I go looking for those answers and solutions when I direct my mind with that question, how is this perfect for me? And then the brain goes and finds how it's perfect for me. Because here's the truth, life will be full of negative experiences and emotions half of the time. And so you have this option when you are presented with a trial to say, oh, how is this terrible? And then you have the other option of how is this a blessing? Which one is going to be useful for you? Which one is actually going to serve your life? Which one is going to inspire you to move forward? Which one is going to feel better? That magic question. Because when we feel better, then we do better. Or, our feelings drive our actions. So we're going to show up if we feel better in a way that will serve us and create us with positive results. That's why we want to ask a positive question when we face a trial. This is how the transformation happens. This is how we turn something that's not great into something that is useful and serving to our life. It becomes a blessing. And this question will help. And there's also 3 thoughts that I want to give you today as well. So we have the 1 question and the 3 thoughts. If you write this down, and then when you're faced with a challenge, little or big, it doesn't matter. It all works the same way. But having these 3 thoughts, which are totally optional for you to go to. Sometimes I tell my clients to put them on sticky notes and put them where you can see them, because even throughout our day, we're going to run into issues and challenges and struggles. And here's the 3 thoughts that you have available to you to think when you are met with a trial. Everything happens for you. What if this is true? I personally believe that it's true. I believe that you are either winning or you're learning, that there's no losing. So it's not against you, right? Plus, if God is for you, who could be against you? So I love this belief. Everything happens for me. So if I kind of label something as negative or a challenge, but what if I redirect and switch my mindset and direct my mind to say, how is this happening for me? And if I just believe, I might not know exactly right now, but I do believe that everything happens for me. Second thought, it was meant to happen the way it did. It was meant to happen this way. And this one's much easier for me to really believe when something goes, quote, wrong in my life, or I'm just fighting, or if I'm resisting, like, no, I don't want that to be the reality of it all and happening. Well, here's the thing. Here is the reality. It was meant to happen the way that it went down. And how do I know that? And how can you know that? And it's simple. The answer is because that's the way it went down. That's the way it happened. Remember, I've said in previous episodes about how when we fight with what is, when we argue with reality, when we want our past to be different than it is, this is just suffering and pain we bring on to ourselves. So if we go to the belief that it was meant to happen the way it did, then we get peace. And when we have peace, we're not arguing with reality. We're actually accepting reality. This is where our internal power lies. So from that place of peace and acceptance, we can then decide how we want to move forward with what we are presented with. And the third thought is all is exactly as it should be. It's a little bit close to that second one that I gave you, but it's still powerful. And sometimes when we hear thoughts presented in a different way, it resonates. So I wanted to offer that. All is exactly as it should be. And again, we know this because that's how it all happened, right? It all happens for you. It's meant to happen that way because it did. And all is exactly as it should be. Just kind of as I'm saying that brings me to that all is well, right? Then there's that thought, this too shall pass. See, I can very easily just come up with a whole bunch because that is how I've trained my brain to go looking for the good, finding how it's a blessing, where most people in the world would define it as a trial, right? Something negative. And yes, negative things do happen, but what are you going to do about it? And the power lies in how you're going to think about it. So just to recap, when we're going through a trial, we can transform it into a blessing by directing our mind with a powerful question. And the one that I offer for your toolbox today to take into life and to apply is to say to yourself, how is this going to be perfect for my life? How is this going to be perfect for my life? Have your brain go working for you. And then perhaps the thought is, everything happens for me. It was meant to happen this way because it did. All is as it should be. All right. I love you listeners so much. I want to just urge you that if you feel that you are dealing with a challenge or an issue in life, that you don't want to go it alone. Life coaching and having a life coach can be that support, that accountability. And as your coach, what I do is I help you see those thoughts and those limited beliefs and your past that has, shaped who you are today. and I help show you and help you to see where it is that you are keeping yourself from getting to where you want to be. We like to present this in the fact that right now in your life, you may feel that you are on one side of a cliff and you see where it is that you want to be on the other side. You picture all that you want to have in your life, the dreams that you have, how you want to be showing up, the feelings that you're not feeling right now, but you want to feel, the experiences you want to have, but you're not believing right now is possible for you. There is a bridge that looks rickety at this moment, and I can help you fill in and make it a strong bridge that you will be very excited to actually run across to get to the other side. And if this is you, if you are looking to have some help, accountability, and support and give life coaching a try, I urge you to sign up for a discovery call with me. Let's discover if we're a right fit, and let's transform those trials into blessings. I love you all. Thanks for listening. Please share if you're benefiting from this podcast. Rate and review because it helps other people just come to know the Peaceful Mind podcast. And I wish and pray for all of you to have peace of mind today and every day moving forward. I will talk to you next week. Okay, take care. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind podcast. Are you ready to take everything I teach you here and put it to work for your own life? To really learn how to have peace of mind no matter what is happening around you? If so, I'd love to have you as a client. As your coach, this is where you'll get personal and focused time on your own mind using life coaching tools, concepts, and proven life-transforming wisdom, all through a faith-filled lens. To learn more about how we can work together, come on over to danielleteenel.com. There, you'll see how to sign up for a free coaching consult and learn how to get started. Until next time, peace be with you always.